On Osrc News at 7, Governor Akeredolu reiterates pledge to make Ondo State investor heaven. Ondo State government hunts workers' skills against gender-related maltreatment. Stakeholders clamor for direct mode as All Progressives Congress set for governorship and House of Assembly primary elections tomorrow. And from the foreign scene, President Joe Biden intensifies lobby for gun control following latest deadliest mass school shooting. Good evening and welcome on the news. I am Olatomiwa Donald Falaye. Ondo State's Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has reaffirmed his commitment to attracting more investors into the state for economic growth, flagging off the JB oil plantation farm of 10,000 hectares in Ore, or the local government area of the state. Governor Akeredolu said he is working towards leaving the state better than he met it. Omoriola Hungweji reports that top government functionaries, royal fathers from Ikale Odigbo Axis and representative of CBN Governor Emefiele also graced the event.
Despite current vitality in the agricultural sector, demand for palm oil globally remains strong. The global market for palm oil projected at $57.2 billion by 2026 informed the need for the investment, especially when opportunity thrives. Governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu said, since he assumed office, about 70,000 hectares of land have been given to 7 companies for oil palm plantation out of 100,000 hectares in the forest reserves of the state, commended the managing director of JB Farms, Jibola Adebutu, for the monumental achievement. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu maintained that the event marked a giant stride in his administration's quest for a green and sustainable economy, job creation, industrial development, and enhanced internally generated revenue, while reiterating his commitment to the promotion of oil palm, cocoa, cashew, rubber, and coffee. The governor said he would not relent in his desire to make the state the #1 producer of cocoa and oil palm.
We are projected to span a total land area of 10,000 hectares, and I think and more. This is just the first one, but I believe it's more than that. Particularly when we realize the effect of having this farm here. It's not easy to know now. Less than 3 years to go. So the benefit will come so many years after. So for us, we are doing something for the future, not for now. It's for the future.
Governor Akeredolu frowned at the attitudes of some stakeholders sabotaging government's effort at developing Okitipupa Oil Company, wants them to retrace their steps and attract more investors to bring back the lost glory of the area.
All of us must come together to think about how we take that. A plantation of 15,000 hectares, 10,000 already. Dairy farm I just started, less than 2,000. Look at what we see on the field and see what we can do. At least to bring Okituba farm back.
Managing Director of JB Farms, Ajibola Adebutu, who said the program started in Ogun State about 25 years ago, lauded Governor Akeredolu for the opportunity to invest in Ondo State, saying many states were approached, but Ondo State opened its arms without requesting for any inducement.
The journey has been interesting so far. There have been challenges, but by the grace of God, we've been able to surmount them. And we pray that very soon we'll come back for another program where the whole estate will be developed and we'll be dedicating a 60-ton per hour mill.
JB Farms, which has been in operation for 25 years in Ogun State, began operation in Ondo State about 15 months ago. Omoriola Hungweji, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, over 40,000 indirect employment is expected to be generated through the palm oil revolution agenda in Ondo State. This is predicated on the establishment of the new farm at Ore. Senior Special Assistant to Governor Akredolu on Agric and Agribusiness, Akin Olotu, while speaking at the flag-off ceremony of JB Farms, or oil palm plantation at the local government area of the state, maintained that the development will be an economic boost for the axis. Omoriola Humbeji again has details.
In the past, Ondo State was ranked high in oil palm plantation in the country, with Okitipupa Oil Palm Plantation Company founded in the Second Republic by the administration of late Michael Adekunle Ajashin to serve as a veritable vehicle of employment. The company, which has since been left in the care of few citizens, was revisited by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. This, no doubt, is beginning to yield positive results, with the emergence of over 7 investors currently harnessing the opportunity across the state, one of which is JB Farms, with 10 hectares of oil palm plantation in Ore.
The Red Gold project of Mr. Governor Arakunle Oluwarotimi Akeredolu is repositioning Ondo State, not just for now, but in the coming years. Globally, three sources of oil in the global market: soya, sunflower, oil palm. This is where we have comparative advantage, and you have succeeded in making Ondo State to take the rightful position.
Other stakeholders who spoke at the event, including the Chief Executive Officer of the Ondo State Development and Investment Promotion Agency, ONDIPA, Mr. Boye Oyewumi, described the occasion as a giant stride.
We are very happy that you are here. We know that you'll be a catalyst for many other investors. At just this time, had 5 industries, and we were clapping, we were happy. When we came in, the only thing that was there was ShopRite. Now, we have on this strip alone about 8,000 jobs. The president came here one day to flag off 5 industries, not foundation laying, industries that were already operating. Not be appreciated, not now. When the umbrella is getting so large, we would have long left, but the legacies will remain.
And I can tell you, Ondo State is blessed. If we just 10,000 hectares, let's take 1,500 they are cultivating today, multiply it by 5. If one employed staff, whether skilled or unskilled, has 4 children and a wife, that's 5. Multiply it by the number of homes, and that will give you almost 50,000 homes will be off the government purse.
The additional oil palm plantations are situated across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Omoriola Humbeji, Osrc News.
In the meantime, the Senior Special Assistant to Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu on Agric and Agribusiness, Akin Olotu, has dismissed as untrue the allegation that he extorted farmers of Ofosu Onishere of Idori Forest Reserves. Olotu, in a chat with journalists in Akure, said the allegation was a deliberate attempt to blackmail him and rubbish his reputation in the estimation of right-thinking members of the public. An Akure-based lawyer, Tokwe Temokon, had petitioned Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu on behalf of 10,000 farmers occupying the forest reserves, accusing the governor's aid of collecting illegal levies from the farmers through the Ondo State Agribusiness Empowerment Center, Osrc. Olotu said, contrary to the allegation from the lawyer, he never collected any money from the farmers aside the annual rent of 10,000 naira between 2019 and 2021 to the state government through the State Internal Revenue Service. Olotu, who said the lawyer should have done his investigation before making such allegation and distributing such to press, says he is ready to be penalized if the government finds the allegation to be true.
Olotu demanded that all farmers should make payment of 6,000 each for recapturing, which was duly paid for. To whom? Where? According to this letter, they are annual tenants. And the position of the state government is that And nobody, this is for 2021, the receipt they paid, so they are not tenants in 2022. Where the money was paid to, the receipt is here, Internal Revenue Services. It's only to preside over Internal Revenue Services. So what is my business with this? Now, the letter we issued out, the letter that came from my agency, it was clearly stated here. List of 1,420 hectares of land at Idori Forest Reserve. This was in November 2021. Everything was, when Board of Internal Revenue did the capturing, they came out with their figure. And they came, we said, okay, go and pay to the state, to the Board of Internal Revenue, which they did. I will discuss with the lawyer, and I will equally discuss with my principal. Ordinarily, my first reaction is to take them to court. That they should come and prove all they have written here in the law court. But I am under someone. So, and I'm saying it openly. If I have a hand in the 6,000, 5,000, and the issue of 3,000, I'm even saying it now, I want to be dismissed. If it is proved that I collected 3,000, or I instructed somebody to collect 3,000, or I collected 6,000, or I instructed somebody to collect 5,000, please, I want to be dismissed.
While urging the public to disregard the publication, told the lawyer and the journalist who published the story to retract it or be ready to face the consequences. Some All Progressives Congress governorship and state houses of assembly aspirants in Ogun, Rivers, Sokoto, Lagos and Osun State have called for the adoption of direct primary to elect the party's candidates in the 2023 elections. The aspirants, in separate interviews with journalists, alleged that governors and some ministers hijacked elections of delegates who would vote at tomorrow's governorship and houses of assembly primaries. They called on the national leadership of the party to cancel the delegates' elections and adopt a direct primary tomorrow. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has declined to halt the governorship primary election of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Rivers State. The court, in a ruling that was delivered by Justice Taiwo, dismissed an ex parte application for the stoppage of the primary election, which was filed by a detained governorship aspirant in the state, Honorable Farah Dagogo. However, the detained federal lawmaker, who had since pleaded not guilty to the charges through his team of lawyers, approached the High Court alleging a deliberate attempt to deny him the opportunity to participate in the governorship primary election of the party. He equally sought an order of interlocutory injunction restraining the PDP from using any list of aspirants without his name to conduct the May 26 primary election, pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. The National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, says the lawmaker representing Anambra North Central District, Stella Odra, did not complete the mandatory one-year NYSC program. The NYSC, in a letter by its Director General, which was signed on his behalf by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Eddie Megwa. The agency said Odra commenced her NYSC program in 1982, but absconded. The letter was in response to an inquiry by a group known as the Concerned Anambra North PDP Stakeholders. In the previous letter, the group had written to the NYSC accusing some officials of the agency of colluding with Odra to hide the truth. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said it would collaborate with anti-graft agencies to prosecute candidates of political parties possessing forged academic credentials in the 2023 general election. The Commission says such collaboration would involve the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the Code of Conduct Bureau. INEC also clarified that there is no specific law that makes it mandatory for electoral candidates to present evidence of tax payment before they could contest election. The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stated this in Abuja during a meeting on the collaboration for effective tax compliance of political office holders convened at the instance of the Joint Task Board. We'll go on this break. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Okay, you can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on our Facebook page OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Taking more stories. Apologies for that mix-up. Taking more stories now. Governor Olorotimi Akeredolu has commiserated with the royal family and entire people of Shukbari in Akoko Southwest Council area over the demise of their monarch, Oba Kasali Adejoro Adedeji, while declaring the late traditional ruler as a bridge builder who dedicated his entire life to the progress and development of his community. Governor Akeredolu said the vacuum created by the exit of the king will be difficult to fill. A condolence message by the governor through his chief press secretary Richard Olatunde prayed God to grant the departed soul eternal rest as he joined his ancestors. The people of Ondo State have been charged to compliment government's efforts at purging society of gender-based violence. Resource persons reiterated the crusade against the abnormality at a two-day orientation program organized by the Ondo State Agency Against Gender-Based Violence for the staff in Akure, the state's capital. Joy Pius covered the training program.
Gender-based violence is a global problem. It is firmly rooted in inequality without gender exceptions. Towards overcoming the menace, the Ondo State Agency Against Gender-Based Violence organized a two-day training to hone the skills of staff. The Executive Secretary of the agency, Bolanle Joao Ogundadigbe, reeled off the objectives of the agency and the importance of the meeting to the staff.
How to ensure effective service delivery, that is very important, that is very key. So in the course of rendering our services to the public, we should also ensure that we render our services with all seriousness, and we should be timely.
Addressing participants, wife of Ondo State Governor Mrs. Betty Ayanwa Akeredolu, represented by the Senior Special Assistant to Governor Akeredolu on Gender, Research and Documentation, Mrs. Temitope Daniel, alongside the Special Advisor to Governor Akeredolu on Gender, Olamide Falana, said there is no justification for gender-based violence considering the emotional scars of victims, and urged the attendees to maximize the training against inhuman treatment.
To have the staff posted to work with this agency, this is a clearer call to the service of humanity. I implore you to work conscientiously as a team and build a formidable synergy.
We actually are in a position to drive change at the moment. If the state actually desires a state response to gender-based violence, it is this state response and this policy drive can only be implemented through our own activities.
Delivering a lecture on gender-based violence in Nigeria, its consequences, the perpetrators of the crime, and what should be done to eradicate the act in society. The resource person, Rita Ilevaye, called for public collaboration to fight the crime.
It is important that victims of gender-based violence have a place where they can be treated confidentially without molestation, and if possible, it should be free treatment. Then economic empowerment strategy, like we identified that poverty is one of the causative agents making women vulnerable.
Participants commended the initiative, saying it will help them in the discharge of their duties. Conversations generated from this training are expected to be expanded and disseminated across the state. to nip the abuse in the bud. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
Ahead of the International Children's Day celebration 2022, the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talon, has said the federal government has established family courts in 16 states to ensure child-friendly justice for children, either as victims or as offenders of violence. Talon, at a press briefing on Tuesday, noted that the establishment of family courts resulted from the effective advocacy and sensitization for effective implementation of the child rights law across the country. According to her, the theme for the year is strengthening supportive system for the protection of the Nigerian child, a wake-up call. Kogi State's Governor Yahya Bello has approved the appointment of 10 new permanent secretaries in the state public service. A statement signed by the head of civil service, Kogi State, Mrs. Hannah Odio, said that the newly appointed officers would replace those who recently retired from the civil service. The statement explained that the appointments were based on merit and must be seen as a call to service. The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, has stressed the need for media practitioners to be motivated adequately for responsive and responsible journalism, which will influence meaningful societal rebirth. Speaking at the unveiling of the logo of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards in Lagos, BON Chairman John Ube said the organization is poised to recognize and reward excellence in the broadcast media industry. Ube said the 76th BON General Assembly has approved the composition of the award steering committee drawn from both public and private sectors, headed by the president of Silverbird Group, Mr. Guy Murray Bruce. While noting that the award ceremony will take place in October, BON Chairman charged media practitioners to play their constitutional roles as midwives between the government and the people towards sustaining national unity as well as deepening democratic governance. In the meantime, the chairman of Osun State's chapter of the All Progressives Congress, Boyega Famodun, has condemned the attack on members of the Correspondents' Chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists by some suspected political thugs. Famodun, in a statement, commiserated with the journalists and some members who were attacked when the party's governorship campaign train visited Bongon Ayedade local government. According to them, the nefarious act was carried out by some elements who were afraid of defeat in the forthcoming election. An unidentified soldier has been reportedly killed by suspected cult members at Ibafu Market in the Obafemi Owode local government area of Ogun State. Report says the incident happened around 7 p.m. on Tuesday when a clash broke out between cultists and soldiers, which led to the death of one of the soldiers. However, the cause of the fight could not be ascertained as of press time. Following a viral video of a woman simply identified as Fatima, who was allegedly murdered in cold blood by elements of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, the presidency warned against any retaliatory violence. In the video, the pregnant woman was seen with 4 children in the pool of their own blood at Isolo, Orumba North local government area of Anambra State. According to a statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba, the presidency said it is investigating the viral videos of the alleged killings of non-indigents by the Eastern Security Network and its outlawed group, IPOB. The Community Court of Justice of the Economic Community of West African States has found the federal government liable for the death of a businessman, Desmond Nunogo, in the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in April 2016. The court directed the federal government to pay 20 million naira compensation to the deceased family. The 29-page judgment was handed down by Justice Edward Asante, who presided over the case, and was assisted by Justice Dupe Atoke and January Acosta on March 21, 2022. by a 2005 ECOWAS supplemental protocol. The CCJ has jurisdiction to hear human rights cases and disputes between individuals in their own member states. The families of passengers kidnapped from the bombed Abuja-Kaduna train took to the streets of Kaduna to call for the rescue of their loved ones from the kidnappers' den. With placards, and the protesters called on the federal government to ensure the safe release of their family members. Terrorists had attacked the train on March 28, leading to the death of no fewer than 8 persons, 26 persons injured, while several others were abducted. And to the foreign scene. Al Jazeera's Washington bureau chief has called on the UN Security Council to ensure the protection of journalists, urging an independent and transparent probe to the killing of the network's veteran reporter Shireen Abu Akleh. Speaking at an informal Security Council meeting on Tuesday, Abdurrahim Fonkara said the slain journalist was killed by Israeli forces while doing her job. Sahid Aribisala has details.
Israel's killing of Al Jazeera's Shireen Abu Akleh at the occupied West Bank prompted Ireland to call this meeting on protection of journalists.
At the time of her killing, Shireen was on duty in a blue press vest, a symbol which denotes civilian status, a symbol that demonstrates to parties to conflict that journalists are not a target.
The targeting of journalists in conflict zones is considered a war crime. The Committee to Protect Journalists said no less than 18 have been killed in the Palestinian territories in the last 20 years. In Ukraine, 9 journalists have died in the war with Russia, but as experts made clear, 9 out of 10 of such crimes are never prosecuted.
The failure of states to investigate, prosecute, and punish crimes against journalists is not only a denial of justice, it is actually an encouragement to perpetuate the cycle of violence.
Al Jazeera's Abu Rahim Fonkara promised to pursue all legal options for accountability.
At the time of her killing, Shireen was on duty in a blue press vest, a symbol which denotes civilian status, a symbol that demonstrates to parties to conflict that journalists are not a target.
Other media networks have made the same conclusion. The UN Security Council has condemned the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh and called for a transparent, impartial investigation, but they haven't supported. The Palestinian authorities call for an investigation by the International Court, essentially leaving accountability.
Al Jazeera's position is crystal clear. Shireen Abu Akleh's life matters, and so does a transparent and independent investigation of her killing and of the serious violation of her funeral by the Israeli security forces. There are other crystal clear issues for Al Jazeera network. 1, Shireen Abu Akleh was killed by an Israeli bullet and in cold blood while she was doing her job. 2, the network has the evidence and the witnesses to support that position.
Sahid Arabisala, Osrc News.
To end the news tonight, let's take another look at the major stories. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has said his administration is keen on making Ondo State a turning point for genuine investors. Ondo State government has organized a 2-day orientation program to retool its workers to fight gender-based violence. The All Progressives Congress has declared that all is set for the conduct of governorship and House of Assembly primary elections tomorrow. And from the foreign scene, President Joe Biden has intensified lobby for gun control as victims' families of the latest school mass shooting groan in pain. And that's it on the news tonight. Thanks for watching. Good evening.